Good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to this forum and discussion. In this occasion, we would like to talk about mass media control and social responsibility. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to the speaker. There are Miss Hafiza, Miss Fiza, and Miss Ika. I am sure everyone has their own opinion and thought with these topics relating to their own experiences and also professionalism. Before we start on details, let me explain you about our topic today. It is possible to ascribe the significance of media in today's society to the fact the mass media fulfilling a range of roles that are important to our day-to-day lives. In this discussion is one of the explanation for why the media is important. This discussion delves into the debate concerning to the level of press freedom that exists in Malaysia. It discusses problems that are associated with independence of the press. The governing federal government has claimed that the media should emphasize values that aim to protect the stability of the nation, religion, culture, race, family, and community. So those are the things that we will discuss today.
Thank you to our moderator. My name is Siti Nur Hafizah binti Zakara and I will be the speaker one. In this age of rapid technological advancements, the control of the mass media does not necessarily affect the nation's citizen thought. The majority of society today is knowledgeable and educated. Thus, they are more attentive and cognizant of the expanding human right in conjunction with the country modernization. Minimal control of the mass media should be allowed and be implemented. It is because people have right to speak out their opinion as well as obtain information or news that is accurate, real and free. Besides that, the public society can express their thought and communicate with others in a manner that is less constrained and more open because the extensive availability of various forms of media. Furthermore, minimum control of media allow people to access news, analysis, or opinion that are open to criticism and transparent. Because of that, many scholars agree that the media is an effective platform for communication. However, the media must adhere to ethical standards and be independent of their influence exerted by the government or large corporation. Senior lecturer at the Center for Media and Communication Studies, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, Muhammad Adnan Pichan said that there is no nation on this world that allows its media complete freedom of expression. However, being overly restrictive with the media is also unethical. Therefore, the most helpful piece of advice would be to control it minimally. Even though it is advisable to exert only minimal control over the media. For the sake of well-being of the nation, it is necessary for the existence of law. In Malaysia, there are a few of media law and the most popular among them is Communication and Multimedia Act 1998, Sedition Act 1948 and Official Secret Act 1972. The existence of legislation is absolutely essential for preventing unfavorable events like riot, disagreement, and other similar occurrences from taking place. Malaysian Press Institute Chief Executive Officer Datuk Dr. Chamel Waria said that an evaluation criterion that is based on the media practice of Western nation is not going to take into consideration that one of the kind media landscape and dynamic that our nation possesses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hafiza, for your explanation. You strongly agree that Malaysia is limited by its constitution, which places restrictions on countries' right to freedom of speech, particularly when it comes to covering politically charged topics like race. So now, let's move on to Ms. Fiza. What is your opinion about it?
Thank you, Moderator Haris. This topic is very interesting, so I will be sharing with you guys about maximum control of the mass media. The government is particularly interested in relying citizens to do acts that serve some political goal. This has proved that control over the media of the time was deliberately built by bourgeoisie intellectuals and the petty bourgeoisie and then continued by the mass media. The bourgeoisie is a social system dominated by the middle class, As a result of owning the media, the bourgeoisie can choose, determine, and publish social, religious, economic, and cultural concepts that produce a stable status. For example, formal doctrines that suit their interests as the ruling class society. Many media institutions depend on publicized fees to function, which may result in media outlets being swayed by a variety of corporate interests. They will maximize as much as possible in media content. The amount to which the government internalize this effect influence the extent of media bias as well as the government's motivation to gain direct control of the media. Citizens' capability to make informed decisions is critical to a free and be operative democracy, but it is currently intimidating by such close attention of ownership. Corporate media may not be a bad thing because it can foster healthy competition and function as a government watchdog. However, when ownership is concentrated, there is an increased risk of economic and political dominance that cannot be accounted for.
Thank you so much to our speakers. It is a very meaningful sharing, and the media itself has their own minimum and maximum control of the media. Since we heard about maximum and minimal control of the mass media, now we can move on to the next speaker to find out why people's right ought not to be protected in the exercise of press freedom.
Thank you, moderator, and hi everyone. Based from the moderator question just now, I will explain to you guys on why people's rights are not to be protected in the exercise of press freedom. First, in order to protect the image of the government from being further violated by few citizens who misuse the mass media, the people's rights to exercise the freedom of press should not be protected so that they will not repeat their actions if they are prosecuted for doing it. Furthermore, even though it seems a bit cruel, it can help the government to restore their tarnished image and good name and also teach the people a lesson. If the people's rights are protected in the implementation of the freedom of press, they will feel free to voice anything, including spreading incitement about the government to the public that may be at high risk of affecting the government's reputation.
Thank you so much for our last speaker for the input. Now here comes the conclusion for today's discussion that we've had earlier. Mass media offers numerous advantages in terms of communication, information dissemination, and advocacy for people's rights. In today's society where everyone is well informed and educated, the control of media does not always affect the thought of the citizens in the country. However, control over the media is necessary to maintain the harmony and peace of a country. Minimal or maximum control of media has both bad and good consequences. For example, the government exerts maximum control over mass media by selecting and determining what is going to be published. The government wants to regulate the content of media outlets that can harm their reputation and image, while minimal control of media let people express their thought and opinions in their own perspective without ignoring others. Free press protects people's rights for freedom of expression, thought, and conscience, also making governments more accountable to their people and also responsive to their needs, and giving voice to a diverse range of viewpoints. So those are the conclusions from today's discussion. I hope it's going to be well received by everyone, and if there's any question about it, you can simply ask to us. Thank you so much for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.